Digital Sourceman here. It's 8th of July 2022. Great day today for a lot of the juniors I own and follow. A bunch of news items out, and this is the exciting stuff of investing. I mean, this is the exciting stuff of this sector because, well, at the same time, we know that almost everyone is just staring at the price of silver. If silver goes down, juniors go down. If silver goes up, juniors go up, typically. Whereas in reality, it's updates on all the work that's been happening on in the background that really changes the value of any junior. Who cares if gold or silver is down a dollar, up a dollar, or in gold's case more than that? Uh, because that's not going to affect the value of the juniors as much as the actual work the juniors are doing. But like we know, that's not how typically the markets work on a short-term basis, because you will see juniors move more depending on what the silver price does on any given day than they do on news releases where the implied value of the actual projects might be, let's say, sometimes the same value of the actual market cap of a company, and still the stocks won't do nothing. That's what happens at these sentiment lows. I mean, this is why this sector is so, in one way, incredibly easy, because you have times like this. So again, people use times like this as evidence why you can't beat the market, or why you can't make money in juniors. Whereas at the same time, why you're seeing this is the reason for you being able to make money in the juniors. Because when the voting machine, which is the short term, turns into a weighing machine, all the news releases that all these juniors put out there will matter. And like always happens, that when companies put out good news releases in bad market conditions, uh, you don't get that momentum to the upside. You don't get the revaluation. You get no momentum. That gets people paranoid. So they're seeing these news releases and like, I'm sure the value of the company, the risk-adjusted value of the company, must have jumped significantly with these news releases. But they don't see Mr. Market, the marginal investor, do anything about it. Let's say they don't react. They don't hike up the price by 10-20% or whatever. So that kind of leaves people paranoid, like, okay, they're not moving. I'm pretty sure these news were good, but at the same time you don't see these stocks go up. Okay, what's happening? I'm getting paranoid. Am I missing something? And what typically happens after every bottom, that when the bottom is in, when the last seller has sold and they turn up, all of a sudden people get FOMO, because they realize when the price starts to go up, they suddenly get the realization that, hey, all these new news items actually mattered. So then when price agrees with them, or price goes up, people get bullish, and then they dare to actually price in the news and price in the value that's been blatantly obvious for months, perhaps. That's just how it works. So it's like you steal value at bottoms like this, and you can complain about the market not caring, etc. Who cares? I mean, it's gonna care one day. So I mean, in the meantime, you might as well steal as much progress, as much value as you possibly can, and let the other 95% of people just be enslaved to the price of silver, and be enslaved to to sentiment, because that's how it is. Everybody does that, and everybody loses. So it's no point in doing what every other people do, everyone else does. No, it's time to actually get on the grind, realize progress for what it is. If it's value adding, the value of the company went up. My portfolio increased in value today because there were quite a few juniors that put out good news today. So the underlying value of my entire portfolio jumped today. Price, yeah, sure, it went up a bit, but it's not reflecting the actual value creation, in my opinion, in most of these stocks, because they were already starting off at a way too low level, so they were not even pricing in already known success, let alone get enough of a bump to reflect today's news items, for example. But that's another matter. But that's the life of a value investor. When everybody's looking at something, you look at the stuff that will eventually matter. When sentiment swings around, which it will. So it's like you can count on that. I mean, take a junior, maybe they drill up a few million ounces. Nobody cares. All of a sudden, sentiment bottoms, price goes up. Then all of a sudden, people will. And I've had this feeling too when I sold out in a stock or waited to get into a stock, because I'm like, okay, they're putting out these good news releases, but nothing's happening to price. Maybe I'm missing something. You get paranoid. All of a sudden, price starts to move. Then all of a sudden, you dare to believe, like, hey, I mean, it was pretty obvious. I mean, they drilled up 3 million ounces or whatever. So then you feel stupid instead. And you had all the time in the world, basically, to bet against the market, the voting machine, and just buy up these juniors. For when it turns into a weighing machine again. Anyway, SK. As per usual with SK, a very, very meaty news release. I won't go through all of this, but like I would encourage people to read all the stuff in this. Let's just take a few snippets. The 2022 exploration campaign at the consolidated SK project is by far the most aggressive program ever conducted on the property, commented Dr. Henny, director and technical advisor to Eskay Mining. Our team is doing a remarkable job making new discoveries and a step needed to grow this remarkable story. We suspect that the TVGF VMS system was much larger. Now we have proof that from recent drilling at Jeff North. In just 1 month, our field crew has more fully assessed the potential at Scarlet Ridge. This is basically the main thing in this news release, I think. And now have strong evidence the system here is of equal magnitude to that of TVGF. Mineralization appears to be hosted by the same rocks found at Eskay Creek. Yes, the Eskay Creek, 7 kilometers to the west of Scarlet Ridge. Excelsior South also displays similar stratigraphy and mineralization to the Eskay Creek deposit. We are delighted with progress made to date, but we have 4 more months in this season during which we expect more discoveries to be made. I mean, Jesus, this Eskay Mining is like, this is a case study of how important people is. I mean, this area, I mean, the Eskay Creek district, I mean, it's not like it has not been known about. I mean, but it's been pretty much dormant for decades. And there's been some drilling here and there. You get in the A team, they do all the necessary stuff like leg sampling, geophysics, super smart geologists, the A team, and all of a sudden you have like every other news release is like, yes, we're finding new discoveries. We've found new outcrops. Oh, there's a big target over there. Now, Scarlet Ridge, like, okay, the TVGF system, which appears to be 5 kilometer long at least, and open, I think, both north and south, and up and down stratigraphy, depending on the area, that was big enough. The original Eskay Creek deposit is like, 1 to 1.5 kilometers. Now they've found this Scarlet Ridge, which is, just one of the other targets, and that looks to be as long as the TVGF system. So okay, I guess Blue Sky doubled from that, or we had a suspicion, of course, that it would be something good, but now they have evidence that yes, this is in fact appears to be similar to TVGF, a bunch of pearls on a string for 5-6 kilometers, and hosted by the same rocks found at Eskay Creek. You can read all this stuff yourself, but it's like good stuff, more evidence. XRF units indicate presence of strong pathfinder element associations. Silver, arsenic, I think this is stibnite, and mercury in some areas displaying sulfide mineralization. They think that, basically the TV Jeff North area, that's being even more de-risked, and that's where they have been drilling. But the main thing I think is Scarlet Ridge. Two extensive VMS feeder zones have been discovered at Scarlet Ridge, the southern and northern feeder zones. Two feeder zones. These feeder zones are marked by intense hydrothermal alteration. I can't even pronounce that. Ubiquitous stockwork and replacement style, sulfide mineralization, and intensely gossinous red, orange, and yellow superficial staining of the peperitic dacite and rhyolite host rocks. Basically, I mean, if you see this staining, I mean that's a clue that there's sulfides there. You know, stuff that's has the goods. Also, XRF units indicate presence of strong pathfinder element. Scarlet Ridge displays all the hallmarks of a large VMS system with multiple feeder zones connected with at least three horizons exhibiting sub-sea floor replacement style mineralization, each of which extends along strike for hundreds of meters. It is especially encouraging that these horizons are correlated with the same units that host the Eskay Creek deposit. I mean, this is just what's sticking up from the ground. This is not, a highlight or anything like that. No, this is an arbitrarily surface expression. And by the sound of it, it's like, okay, this feeder zone looks to be huge, which it is at especially TV, where they drill like 90 meters or 130 meters of like 2 grams per ton stuff. 3 different horizons where they have a replacement style. So that's like three stacked replacement system. And I don't think they have yet to find. I'm not sure, but I'm assuming that's also means that they have not yet located where the actual VMS mound, which would be the actual seafloor deposits are found yet. So again, it's like wide open, up stratigraphy, probably down stratigraphy, etc., etc. And you can read about Excelsior South. These are the holes that's been drilled at Jeff North. I'm assuming, I don't know the grades. I mean, I think most of this is majority will be in feeder zone stuff and some replacement. And I think they mentioned semi-massive to massive mineralization in some areas. So again, I'm not sure they've hit bullseye, but I would not be shocked to have more thick intercepts of like 1-2 grams over considerable widths, etc., which would be basically what Skina Resources are trying to put into production, bulk tonnage stuff at high grades, for a open pit at least. And then everything, I mean, there's probably open up stratigraphy, down stratigraphy, as it is at Jeff and TV and Jeff, of course. Mapping from Jeff North. There's a recent video where the Decker talks a lot about this. These are examples of nice mineralization, and from listening to the Decker, it sounds like I mean there could be some. I mean, this is almost sulfide replacement of silicified peperitic basalt. I mean, this is almost all solid sulfides pretty much. So I think we'll get some good hits, maybe some wide hits, etc. I don't expect fantastic hits everywhere. I don't really expect from these first holes. I don't expect Eskay Creek type stuff. I mean super bonanza stuff. I don't think we're in that horizon yet. But this beast continues to grow, and now they found a beast that might be as large as the other one with a massive VMS feeder, and it's all everything is outcropping. So they basically have it's like the see right through. It's like a X-ray. Everything is sticking up, so they can see all the parts of the system. And I mean, listen to this.
These are the same types of dacites and rhyolites that host the Eskay Creek deposit, which is just 7 kilometers due west of Scarlet Ridge. And when you get out there and look at Scarlet Ridge, I just walked up the entire feeder zone about 10 days ago, and you see nothing but just this intense kind of staining, this red and orange staining we call a Gaussian. And you can see all these fractures are just hosting this orange, red, yellow staining. That's actually associated with sulfide mineralization. When you get a close-up look at these rocks, what you see is stuff like this. And I'm talking, all the way from the bottom of the valley to the top of this ridge, about 800 meters of nonstop a stockwork style sulfide mineralization just cutting through all of these rocks. In some cases, what we see is something like in this image, where about half of this rock has been replaced by sulfide mineralization. So we're looking at not only stockwork style mineralization, but replacement style mineralization. If you look at this along strike, so the feeder zone would kind of be coming up like.
Yeah, I mean, I think you should listen to this entire clip. It's pretty fascinating, and it obviously sounds. I mean, the decker is excited. I mean, it sounds pretty unbelievable what they're seeing up at Scarlet Ridge, where you have this massive outcropping VMS trend. So it's like, given all that, I don't know what the stock, ended up, maybe 5%. I mean, it's just a joke. I mean, any junior would kill for a target like Scarlet Ridge. And they're hitting over at Jeff North, which basically already extends that system. So it just goes to show. I mean, no, this market is not functioning correctly right now. No, nobody's thinking about price versus value. Everybody's thinking about what some other guy is going to do tomorrow. Mostly be afraid that someone will sell down their stock. Like that is the biggest problem. Then we have Alpha Exploration. I found it. I just looked at a short day ago or so. I noticed there was for Alpha a pretty good volume spike. Price jumped considerably, nearing some kind of trend line. I mean, a team, they're in Eritrea. It's one of my few African plays. I know it's the only African play that Crescat has. So they will be. Is pleased to announce that it has commenced follow-up drilling programs at three of the most important prospects of its Kirkasha project, Eritrea, which is a huge project. So they're going to be follow-up drilling here, I think this is the gold copper target, which is basically already a discovery. Tolejimia and Anagulu. Follow-up drilling. So I mean, they've hit all these three targets, and they have more targets than this. So it's like, this is a story where you're spoiled with targets. You have an absolutely incredible team, which have had success. You can read that in the piece I did on them. This is a hodl growth story for me. Letting this kind of management team, I mean, the success they're already having, it's like with SK, let the A team do their job. They're working every day, so you don't have to, and they're every day, whether you're sleeping or whatever, going on vacation. I mean, there's people working to create value, and you have the ones in this case who actually had hundreds, millions to $1 billion success before. So it's and they have a lot of skin in the game. So I have no doubt that there's a pretty good chance that something good could come out of this project when all is said and done. Labrador Gold, hole K 22-174 intersected 284.1 grams per ton over 0.58 meters from 309, yada yada yada. And 15 grams per ton over 1.11 meters from 310. The hole is the furthest hole drilled to the southwest at Big Vein and represents a 120 meter step out from previously reported mineralization at Big Vein. So that's nice. I mean, a 120 meter step out, and they hit bonanza grades and high grades, narrow, but I guess we can kind of expect that from Labrador until they find, I don't know, a Keat zone where it's like thickens out, let's say. So maybe these are veins that at some point will blow out. We don't know that. Mineralization at Big Vein remains open along strike to the southwest and northeast. Drilling also intersected high-grade mineralization at Golden Glove, grading 20 grams per ton over 1 meter, and a longer 13.2 meter near surface interval at Midway, grading 2.2 grams per ton. That included 5.23 grams per ton over 4 meters, so that's like, 20 gram meter intercept. Okay, it's probably better to do like this. Anyway, I hope you can see. Maybe, yeah, let's do it like this. So this is Golden Glove, high grade, and some, I wouldn't say, well, wider mineralization at least. Midway also hits some stuff here, 2.2 over 13 meters. So you get like high grade, a bit wider mineralization here. Okay, this from this release, this was actually the narrow intercept, but you have high grade gold up here, you high grade gold there. You know what Newfound Gold is finding. You have Big Wayne with this new hole. So, okay, or any of these like Slam Dunk, Bonanza, Keat Zone stuff, no, but it appears, I mean, it's pretty clear that there is in fact a lot of gold here, and obviously Mother Nature don't know where the claim border is. So this is, I mean, this stuff is on strike from especially Golden Glove, I guess, because it's also on the right side of this Appleton Fault zone. But you have more stuff, and Newfound Gold has shown that as well. So it's like, I mean, is it positive? Obviously, they're hitting at more targets than just Big Vein. Is it like the slam dunk pile everything in? No, I don't think so. But they're working at it, and the best part I think about Lab right now is that $60 million market cap. The stock has been hammered. Well, firstly due to sentiment, but also because there's been warrants expiring. So you had artificial selling pressure, which doesn't help in this environment. But they have around, well, I guess they have a bit less now, but the latest presentation shows 25 million, around 25 million of cash. So 60 million market cap, 25 million of that is cash, and they're, continuously having success. So it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like you almost half the market cap is just, you get the money back from the Bank of Labrador. So, I mean, it's exciting because, okay, at times like this, when you have a very cashed up junior that's aggressive and right next door to one of the, best discoveries probably in the last few years, can't really complain. I think, because there's no fear of them needing cash anytime soon, and they're prodding along and growing. Almost like SK. I mean, this is the story that just keeps on delivering. Goliath drills 98.99 meters of mineralization in 1.5 kilometer step out to the west on pad 15, Gold Digger property. 100% of, I mean, this track record just yeah, well, they still have the 100% hit rate. I mean, think of the ROI on that. It's like everywhere they put a hole, they hit something, which expands everything, and just basically every additional hole they continue to hit just hikes up the evidence that this is a remarkably, almost uniquely robust system. No dry holes yet. And then you can start, of course, since it appears to be quite homogeneous, etc., then you can start to project stuff. I mean, I've talked about this before, if there was ever a gold and silver target you could project, that would be the most predictable of them all, I guess, where it's like, yeah, everywhere they hit, or everywhere they drill, they hit. 100% of the drill holes completed to date on the Shorebet discovery have intersected broad zones of significant sulfide mineralization up to 135 meters wide. The drilling and data continue to demonstrate the presence of an extensive mineralizing system underlying the property, now confirmed by drilling over an area of 5.22 square kilometers. I should actually do some calculations on that. The mineralization remains open in all directions. The presence of multiple broad intercept of sulfides in the stratigraphically lower Hazelton volcanic rocks confirms a robust mineralizing system beneath the shorebed shear zone, cutting the overlying sediments. Assays are pending on all holes drilled to date and will be released once received, compiled, and interpreted. As far as I understand, assay turnaround is a lot better this year, or should be. So I don't think we need to wait, many months for these assays to start trickling in, unless they wait and release all assays at the same time, of course, like they kinda did last season. But you can read the details. I mean, drill hole 2231, 98 meters broad interval of mainly disseminated sulfide mineralization. Here you have hole 29, hit like 3 broad intervals starting from 4.46 meters start of bedrock, the 53 meters, that's a 49 meter interval, then hit a 22 meter interval, and then it hit a 69 meter interval. It's just pretty amazing, I think. It's like, it's not only one, in this case at least, interval. It's like three distinct intervals. And yeah, I mean, the only thing I think, or the, let's say, important thing, so far hit in every hole, and this was a 1.5 kilometer step out, and now they drilled here, and this is where they mainly drilled, and they drilled there last year. So they've drilled here, system was there, they hit, they drilled basically the top here, all holes hit, they hit here, they hit here. So I mean, if you again, I think that's what they describe by a 5.25 square kilometers. I mean, that's, yeah, I mean, my reason for being bullish Goliath has been, or was from the start, I mean, this portion, then it just expanded, but then it's like the calculations is based on this one, and theoretically playing around, you might have some lower grade areas, even though the system is still there, but maybe you have 4.5 million ounces of actually, high grade, 9 to 10 grams per ton AU equivalent. I mean, that's very high grade. Metallurgy looks great. Preliminary testing says so, at least. It would be above the actual, adit or whatever they put in, so you would have gravity working for you, which probably lowers cost even more. ESG friendly since it's underground. Again, high grades, which, I mean, that alone should lead to higher margins. BC Golden Triangle tier 1 jurisdiction. So depending on what you want to, let's say, put a per ounce potential of value, I mean, I think Great Bear sold for like $175 per ounce, I think. So if we just take this triangle, that could be like, let's play around. Okay, 675 million, maybe up to, I mean, again, this is Great Bear. Maybe this is actually a higher margin, I don't know. But, potentially 900 million in a takeover scenario, if this delivers. But this is where they also hit. And this is pad 15 where they hit now. So it's like, they've hit here, they've hit up here, they've hit here. So it's like, this looks incredible, more and more likely that this is actually continuously mineralized to some degree. And since they hit out here, maybe, who knows, I mean, how much, and they're gonna be testing up here as well. So it's like, if this is enough for like a big payday, what if this is mineralized as well, which it appears to be to some respect, and maybe if they hit up here. So it's like, I don't know where the blue sky is, but it's like, this target is being de-risked by every hole they keep hitting, because it makes it even more probable that this is actually an entire sheet or sheets of continuous mineralization. And it's like, when you think about it, and I look at the market cap, 59 million Canadian, and I don't know how much cash they have, like at least, I think they have 10 million or something. It's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, this is one of the most unique targets that I know of. I don't know a single gold silver story which can do 1 kilometer step out holes and hit in every hole so far. it's mind-blowing in my opinion. I mean, this is one of my absolute favorite exploration stories, because the ROI appears to be insane on every drill meter, and on any drill hole. The margins, the value on these ounces could also be way above average. So yeah, pretty unique story in my opinion. Nevada King advances 2022 Atlanta drill campaign with 14 holes now completed, and fast-tracks drilling with arrival of 2 more drill rigs. So they're up to 3 drill rigs at the Atlanta gold mine. We know they have high grade stuff there. You can see here, included 41.2 meters averaging 4 grams per ton AU, 64 meters averaging 3.35 grams per ton, 55 meters averaging 5.34 grams per ton. You don't need a lot of that stuff in Nevada to be worth quite a bit. And now they're up to 3 drill rigs. I think the market cap is 87. They have around 25 million in cash. The CEO, Colin Kettel, I think he put in 5 million more with no warrants at higher prices. So if nobody knew, let's take this as an example. I mean, that goes for Goliath as well. If you had no experience with the last 2-year-long downtrend in juniors, you had no idea what people thought about anything. You had no idea if silver had gone up or down, but you know that gold is at 17, whatever, 77 perhaps. I don't even remember where it is right now. And silver is, okay, silver is not important. But it's like, if you just had that input, like you saw the news, you know how much cash they have, you know they almost own half the Cortez trend in Nevada. You know they have the Atlanta gold mine. You know they have, again, 25 million in cash. You know the CEO put in 5 million at higher prices recently. You know they have the Atlanta gold mine where they've hit good Carlin style mineralization. You know they're just brought in 2 additional rigs and will drill a lot, I assume. It's like if you looked at the valuation, what the enterprise value is, so like subtract 25 million, I think that's around their cash level. That's 60 million for, like, I don't know how many projects they have, like 9 at least. The Atlanta gold mine, which also recently came out with great metallurgical results. I mean, these are preliminary, but it appears that, okay, these were above expectation. I mean, you can't make this up, and that goes for Goliath as well. I would never have guessed, if somebody just described every company and where gold is trading, I would be, yeah, I probably would not believe my luck, if you know what I mean. But right now it of course feels like a curse, because everything is going down, so it's getting cheaper, but the very fact that it's cheap means that it's, in my opinion, a great blessing now to be aware of this, but it of course doesn't feel great, because it feels like a curse, because it became cheaper from not starting off as cheap. So for any dry powder enthusiast or anyone who just found the sector, this is like Christmas. Cabral just keeps on hitting, and we know they quite recently put out great metallurgical results for the oxide blanket, so I'm very enthusiastic about this. I mean, it doesn't look sexy, but I mean, starting at surface, oxidized and weathered material appears to be quite easy and cheap to recover. I mean, what would the capex be to put something like this into production? I don't know, but can't be much. And they have all the hard rock stuff. And they hit like 21 meters of 4.2 grams per ton from oxidized and weathered material. I mean, this is the stuff they would basically just dig out of the ground. So it's like, again, what would the margins be on this stuff? Pretty good, I think. And they have, I think they're permit to put up a, starter operation or a trial trial mine, trial plant, etc. So it appears that yes, you can work in this part of Brazil as well, because we read headlines all the time about jurisdictions where it's getting harder and harder, but it appears that this is quite doable. And we know that G Mining Ventures right next door is building, I think, what would become Brazil's second or third largest mine, and that's the neighbors. And I think they're backed by the Lundin. So I mean, like Quinton has said, I mean, do you think they're looking at this? I mean, of course they are. They even have Cabral highlighted in one of their presentations. I think this is probably gonna turn out quite well. And let's look at evaluation. 35 million. It's like okay. I mean, again, no, if this was a truly reflecting the value of the land package they have and all the success they've had and all the sunk costs that are already there, nobody would be stupid enough to go look for gold. That's just how it is. And this is actually one of the better stories out there. And still, it's not reflecting much more than, I don't know, sunk costs and time. But that's what you get during these sentiment extremes. It's an absolute buffet. You can steal as much value as you want, pretty much, and that will matter at some point, because we know that when sentiment gets hot, which it will someday, might be a year or two away, juniors are gonna be trading higher than their intrinsic value. Higher. Now they're extremely low, underpriced. They're going to be overpriced one day. That's where the big money is, of course. Irving Resources intersects high-grade AG veins at Omi mine site, Omi project, Hokkaido, Japan. 7.4 grams per ton AU and 10 grams per ton AG over 8.58 meters. I mean, that's a high grade and pretty thick intercept within 4.63 AU equivalent grams per ton over 15.25 meters. That's really nice. And then they have some narrow hits, second intercept. I haven't actually read through this news release. I did participate in the recent private placement. I think Newmont took a stab as well. So it's like, yeah, if it's good enough for the world's largest gold mining company, then I'm in. And I've already talked about the fact that they have, like, I don't know, 9 or 13 projects or something like that. I mean, the geological potential of their project portfolio is probably, top 5 in the world of juniors, I would think. But the problem has been for quite some time, it's in Japan. During COVID, they had 1 drill rig. I think they've actually, if I remember correctly, they've actually bought 2 drill rigs. So this is going to start to get exciting, I think, again. And they have more targets than drills, so there's not going to be a shortage of I mean, that's a lot of different hits. Yeah, anyway, so I like it. Both holes completed only in the winter of 2022 have yielded significant high-grade vein intercepts. The first 2 veins encountered, you can read this yourself. So this is, in my opinion, I'm just sitting back, letting Irving and Newmont do their thing. And it's like, is Irving, ridiculously cheap based on what is known? No, I wouldn't say so. Is it cheap relative to the potential? Yeah, and Newmont obviously agrees. So this is a longer term play. It has not yet borne the hands down bonanza fruit yet. So yeah, that's pretty much how I would put it. I think you require patience with this one, but at the same time they might hit a bonanza hole at any time, because I think they're gonna be drilling Hokkaido, and I don't remember now. I mean, it's so many stores to keep track of. I think they're gonna be drilling some of the projects closer to Hishikari as well. So yeah, anyway, to wrap up the day. Great day for quite a few of the juniors I own. Net value of these juniors all increased. Mr. Market has his own idea right now, of course, but all this stuff is going to matter sometime. And of course, what I always say is like the most important thing about any news release is what it suggests what it suggests for the next 5 to 10. What it says about the future, basically. So it's like in Eskay Mining's case, okay, now they have a whopper of a behemoth target that is large as TV and Jeff, and that's going to be drilled. So yes, we don't have any drill results now, but like we will have someday, and they're probably, like they say, they expect to find even more, make even more discoveries. So it's like, yeah, they're plowing ahead, and if it wasn't for the options selling and warrant selling in SK, I think that would be higher than it is now. So it's actually held up considerably well despite the extremely negative sentiment in the sector and all the artificial selling. So yeah, I like all these stocks at these prices, some more than others. Do your own due diligence. I am biased. Many are sponsors as well. So always do your own due diligence. Never invest any money you cannot afford to lose or will need anytime soon, because we don't know how long we're going to be at these ridiculously low prices, etc. Yeah, not investing advice. Quote, bye.